I'm Christina Adams. This is the place where we talk about God, Christianity, and life. Right now, we're going to talk about growing closer to God, specifically using the Frank Laubach method. This is a method that I got from this book, Letters by a Modern Mystic. And if you missed the last video I made, I gave a little bit of a review of that book there. So the general premise of this method is that you try to think about God as often as you can. And by doing that, the goal is to bring God into your life more and more, and to have your mind return to Him more and more, especially once it becomes a habit. So that's the goal, is for your mind to have a habit of thinking about God and turning your thoughts to Him, so that then when something happens, mind automatically kicks in and does those things for you. So it's a little bit less that you have to think about it, and you have to think, oh, am I turning to God yet or not? Or you put your head on the pillow at night and realize, this big thing that happened, and I haven't even thought about God at all. So this method tries to help alleviate that. So there are some things, that I've been not entirely consistently for maybe 5-6 years now, and I can officially say that I think I've started to see some differences, which is great. So always great when you find something that works. But the thing I liked about it was that it did make me, when I read about it, and I read about his own experiences, and I wanted to try them myself. And so it takes you a while to actually get into the habit of doing it, because your mind is just naturally doing whatever it was the last time you tried to train it to do something. And so you have to create new habits and new memory ways of memory pathways in your brain. And it's an ongoing thing too, because you can be really good at it one week and then really bad at it the next, or really good at it 1 hour and really bad at it the next, which is something that he also talks about with his own experience. But some of the neat things that I discovered, or I realized, there's this passage where in the book, where he says that he would be working and doing things with God, and he would need something and turn around and find it. And he says, I must work, to be sure, but there is God working alongside of me. And so this sense of like you doing things with God and God doing things with you, where that is, I guess, unique in the way that we often think of Christianity. I mean, it's obvious that we do things with God and God does things with us, but to actually know that you've experienced that, that's really cool. So, but there were a couple of times when at the first job, when I first started working on this, that I actually had experiences that were kind of like that, where I needed to have something printed out, and then I found it, or printed it out earlier and totally forgotten about it. Or times when I would think that I needed to get something done, and then my mind would be like, well, do I have to do it today? And then I feel like, well, maybe I should. And so I'd go ahead and do it. And then the next day, the copier would be broken, or the thing that I wanted to do, or the time that I thought I had to use it to use for it the next day, was suddenly gone because of something that had happened, or a meeting that I needed to have that I didn't know about until that day. And so that was just really kind of neat. Then in the last 2 years, I was at a seminary taking classes, and I would be working and taking classes at the same time, and I would be so tired. And I would get up in the morning, go to work until 5 or 6 in the evening, and then go home and do as much schoolwork as I could before I went to bed, and then did it all over again. And my car would have issues. A couple of times my tires would keep getting low, and because they weren't used to the pressure. And there was another time when my brake lines were going bad, and another time when I had a light on, and I would be going to work, seeing how my car was driving and knowing that I needed to do something, but not knowing when I would be able to do it. And I would just say, well, God, I, I need my car, and uh, I need to be able to do all these things too, and I need to get it done in a week, or by a certain time, and I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I know you're going to take care of me. And then I would just wait and see. And more every time I would either have a day off unexpectedly, or I would get off a few hours early, or it just happens so that I was off in a time when I could get somewhere, get to the mechanic in time. And the same was true for different assignments that I would have as well. Or I'd forgotten about an assignment and suddenly discovered I had it and it was due. And I would have the same experience where suddenly there would be this time that would open up, or something that I thought would take for a very long time. Once I looked at it and realized, oh, it's actually this. And I was able to finish it much faster. So that was just some really neat times that I've had with God. But I also realized that there, seeing God do things in my life gave me a different idea of things to look for than I had previously thought. I used to think that you need to have words spoken out loud to you, or you need to find a Bible verse, or uh, something along those lines. But more often than not, like, oftentimes I would notice that there would be this sense where I'd feel like, oh, I need to get that done, and I would do it, and then it was just the best idea ever. And there was no reason for me to have thought that that was something I need to do, other than that God was helping me and giving me guidance as to when I should be doing certain things. And another thing that I noticed too is that sometimes I would have energy, and there would be days when I would work all day, and I would, I'd be really tired. And then there'd be other days where I would work all day and I would just have energy to do stuff. And I would be able to get home and I would be able to get things done. And there was no, in my mind, there was no real reason for why one would be that way and the other wouldn't. But at the same time, when I did have those spurts of energy, I was able to get a lot done that God was able to help me get done. So that's just some cool things that I've noticed in my life, in interacting with God and seeing how He works. So, how have you seen God work in your life? I'd love to hear it, and yeah, just write me a comment below and let me know. Also, if you're interested, you could check out my blog and see some of the other content I've created. All right, God bless.